Hello, welcome, and thank you for being here today. This may be your first time of ever listening to a message that has come through me from the Council of Wisdom. You may be someone who's listened to them numerous times and understands messages that they're trying to convey. Whichever the case, thank you for being here today and thank you for taking the time. It really is important that we begin to understand messages that are being conveyed to us from the other side, from source, from etheric beings, however you define source, however you're comfortable with that. But know that messages are coming through. I'm sure you know when you look at the vast number of people currently online who are channeling messages from source and the important things that are being said to us, the things that we are trying to learn and understand. And I had not been channeling anything from the Council of Wisdom during this COVID chaos because it just seemed like it was, in many cases, because of their concern and their sometimes brutal honesty about what's happening here. I just felt that maybe it was upsetting to some people, and I didn't want to just be the purveyor of bad news all the time. And it's changing, but we're in a bad situation, and so what we have to do is find the courage to take a look at what possibilities there are, how we can change, what things we can do differently, how we can be better people, how we can do better things, better our lives by bettering the lives of those around us. And each person doing one little thing can make a huge difference. There's an impact on the next person who impacts the next person. So the Council of Wisdom, being the really intense beings that there are, have begun this message with something as I ask that they soften the blows a little bit, because it can be daunting. Day by day can be daunting for us to try to just be people who are hanging on to our faith. So they promised us that we can accelerate our growth moving into 2021 and forward if we will listen to the messages that are being conveyed to each and every one of us, those little hints that are coming through, inspiration, marvelous ideas, all kinds of things that are being offered to help us on our way. The primary message being conveyed to us as human beings by the Council of Wisdom and various other entities is that we do have the opportunity to create something really wonderful. What we have is inadequate. It seems to be our governments are broken and they are collapsing in on themselves because it's time for change. And the only way that we can have change is when we realize that what we have isn't working. And in order for us to come to terms with that, we've had to begin to understand that it's collapsing on itself. And when we see that happening, we can stop deceiving ourselves and pretending that what we have is working very well, when in essence it's not. So it has to get bad before we will be willing to allow it to change and to allow dramatic change come in. If we can come to terms with our need for different types of government entities, different types of policies, whole different types of societal structures and infrastructures, then we will begin to realize that all of the beings in the ether, for me, the angels, primarily in the Council of Wisdom, will convey to us the ideas of ways that we can make a difference, so we can really change and be able to accelerate our evolution to a much higher degree of intellect and prosperity and effectiveness. One of the major messages that they convey is that peace can prevail when we can learn that we can live more together and have less competition. And their message leads with a promise of hope and fulfilled prophecies. What they said to me was, to taste the blessings that are in store for the faithful will be the most satisfying experience ever known to you. They want us to know that they want nothing but the absolute best for us, that what is happening on our planet is part of the evolutionary process. It's not Armageddon. It's not God's judgment. It's just part of the maturation process of the planet and of the race. We have to be different and do different, be better, and do things better than we currently do. It's a natural course of time, and how our planet has evolved since the beginning of time. And it will go through changes the same as we go through changes. All of those changes are an absolute necessity. So we have to come to terms with our need to be courageous and to take a really good hard look at what different ways we may be able to do things. They came with information this time, both good news and bad. Our political systems, our societal structures, culture, environment, economy, globalization, so many different issues that are out there for us to examine. Um, the good news is that they will offer us answers to all of those when we really begin to seek them. And they will show us a way that is a very intellectual way of dealing with the problems that we have, very creative. We can become the catalyst in that by asking what those ideas are and allowing them to come through, however they can convey them to us. The bad news is it's going to take some time, of course. We're impatient. The mess with COVID has made people surly, and we're grumpy, and we're lonely, and we need to be able to socialize again. We need to be able to find some degree of normalcy and beyond these controls that have been so restrictive to people and causing such angst. The bad news, of course, is it's going to take some time. So we sit down, we get serious, and we face the problems that we have to deal with. They have information regarding the disruptions that have been caused by the tests, and they are tests of our fortitude and our perseverance. Regardless of the origins of COVID and many of the other situations that we have, we're having to learn to accept other people's pain and other people's problems and other people's plight as just a matter of course, that somehow or another we need to be desensitized to it, so we will allow things to happen. We need to be kept angry all the time, to feel the angst, to feel the disruption, in order for us to feel the fear that is going to propel us forward. But we need to make sure that we're not being led by mind control, by man's ideas, by a small group of people, that we're being led by source into something that is evolutionary. We don't want to digress, and we certainly do not want to stay stagnant, because where we are right now is like a hell on earth. Everything that's been happening, and I know that you understand, we just don't understand to the degree I don't understand, and the council tries to convey that it's always been about fear and listening to authority and having them, if they keep us afraid, then we will listen to authority, their authority, and we will do what they tell us to do. We will comply. So how did you do during this? How did you do during the whole COVID fiasco and the chaos? Did you comply with everything that they asked you to do? What the council wants us to know is, will we comply? Can we know this of ourselves? Will we comply to a much higher authority in our efforts to recreate our societies? The attempts will be in vain for years to come until mankind can see into a newer method of governance. It's crucial. If we wait for inspiration, we sit with our ear attuned to the ether. We sit with our ear attuned to the angelic beings that are trying so hard to help us. And we sit and we listen to what they say. We ask specific questions and address the issues that we have with regard to our economic system and the unfairness of it and the inequity. And we ask them about, how do we govern more fairly and more effectively than we currently do? When we listen for the answers, they have assured us over and over and over that it will truly come. One thing that they are reiterating over and over and over is our need to change our whole political system. And they said in the future it will be truly a societal voting system and not a small representative body that merely supports self-interest. Consider that the experts should be consulted, the most educated and established experts in finance, for example, and not by whatever method endorses capital gain on Wall Street. Consider that foreign policy should be determined not by a few, but by the populace of many nations in harmony instead of in greed and discord. Consider governance of and by the people, not one of a few self-serving representatives. Votes on bills or changes would be rare once a new policy or program is adopted. It may be hard to imagine a world in harmony and equality, but with the current governments, when they're dismantled, the world will become one of no separation by borders or oceans. To say a new world is coming is literal. The world will be as one, and when the competition is gone, peace will prevail. As global travel increases as a natural course of coexistence, then people will cease their divisions and derisions. The planet will become home to an evolved species of enlightened and intelligent beings. That's us they're talking about. We can do this. A generation of them already exists here, and more are coming. This is great news, and it is obvious that many here are changing and becoming aware of the need for a higher quality of life for everyone, not just for a few. The fact that these changes are universal means that Earth will finally cease to be a detention center for the universe's miscreants, and therefore can finally find a new existence of a better race than the present human race. Try to remember that what is happening here is happening universally. It is an overhaul of an entire race of beings that have been less than they are capable of being. The darkest of times is now to become an enlightened age of renewal and growth. Wait until you see mankind in his truest form. It will help you to understand why discrimination is foolish. All are essentially, in essence, the same in form and function. Energy has no color, no characteristics like features or hair color or texture. Finally, sameness will reign over differences. This is oneness. How can this ever be, you may ask? Because when the darkness is eliminated by lightness, the divisions will simply cease. Imagine, dear ones, just let your minds wander to a place of goodness, light, and love. Imagine and project your thoughts of peace and love into the ether, into the collective consciousness of the universe, and let it sit there. Ancient promises are being fulfilled now like never before. Others, like Lana, are receiving messages pertaining to the future, not to be confused with the past, as this is all new. The palaces of kings will be vacant. The storehouse will open, and all shall be fed. Remember such ancient promises? So many are in existence it is hard to recall them, and yet the stories of the past reflect the truths of today. Right before your very eyes are the pages turning, and evolution is bringing all to a much higher state of being. Some may feel a galactic pull, and others, more secure in Earth's energy, will hunker down and engage in the physical work of reconstruction and enhancement of the planet. Many trials await the people of Earth, but so do many incredible advancements in technology and intelligence. The more your leaders try to dumb you down, the more you must seek truth, which today is in very short supply. The Council emphasizes, has it occurred to you that the planet is in travail? We mean seriously. Have you considered the length the planet must go to produce a new version of itself? Birth is accompanied by unpleasantness and pain. Birth is accompanied by cries of impatience and longing for the delivery to come quickly, and yet timing is never determined by the onlooker or the nursemaid. The new planet is in gestation. It is silent and still. Then abruptly it erupts with gases and pressure. Hold on to your seats when the new life bursts forth. The shift will amaze even the most enlightened. A day is at hand wherein the takers become givers and the unsettled become helpers in every right. We have to understand that the Council is conveying to us in this message that we, through our education of ourselves and our understanding, we will usher these things and accelerate the process. The earth is indeed in travail, as we are in new birthing of ourselves. There's pain accompanied in it, there's suffering accompanying in it, and some of it is just beyond our comprehension. But what we need to understand is that travail is not something that is a punishment. It is an opportunity for us to begin to really re-examine the opportunities that we have to really accelerate growth to the point where we don't have to endure this for any longer than necessary. We seem to be slow on the draw sometimes, and so the Council is going to continue to remind us to please take that time to listen, put your ear to the universe and see what inspiration you can get. And there is so much information available to us, and ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance in the way that we're being dumbed down is a form of control, and it's going to keep us where we're at in order that those things that are in authority and control right now do not lose their grip on that control. And as this states here in this figure, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, and they're asking us to make a different choice. If we pursue the truth like our future depends on it, because it does, we will be given that truth. It is out there. It is there for us to connect with, to link into, to subscribe to, and to open up our minds for them to teach us. There's all kinds of people that can be inspired, not even really knowing the true source of that inspiration. So let's ask that that happens. All those brilliant minds that they know that they can make understand, let's ask that they begin to do that. And the more we ask and the more we strive for that, the more that it will begin to become our reality. Truth is never stagnant. It is evolving as we grow in understanding and wisdom. There's never just one way. It is a multitude of ways that we're going to have to approach our problems. It's a multitude of ways that we're going to have to open our minds to any kind of concepts that we've never even considered before, because we need really tremendous, great answers to great problems. The fact that there's never one way can't be limited by our beliefs. We have to let go of those limiting beliefs, the dogmatic things that keep us in a little box with little perspective. Beliefs are subjective, and they often lack objectivity. We've got to be very objective and very open-minded to whatever they want to present to us. Restrictions on truth limit growth and knowledge. And facts, as you know, can be easily manipulated to appear true. Even researchers, major researchers, find facts to prove their theory and may discard the contradictions. As we begin to seek these answers and we begin to listen intently for them, people will discover their place, their purpose, and peace. In this rejoice, and remember, from chaos comes change. From great chaos, great change. It is time to create. It is time to formulate and postulate the endless possibilities of a better way. Let us shift you to a place of giving. After all, you have so much to share. The Council has conveyed blessings to us. They have conveyed wisdom, and they're stating to us, what now? We can fix what we have broken by asking the right questions. And they want us to know and to assure ourselves and to truly believe and trust the answers do await. And until next time, thank you for being here, and be blessed.